They've given 2 Irish ministers 1 glass of water. And you just don't do that in Irish culture. And then the wrong reading, so let's see how we do this morning. It's a very tough reading for me because I have no experience, and usually I like to talk from experience. And I've never had any sort of healing or any experience like what Master is talking about when he was a child. So as I was prepping this week, I was driving around and I listened to the radio and I heard an ad for Kaiser Permanente. And it's the woman from West Wing, and they've been doing them since about 2004, and it's very new agey. And it talked about practice kindness, because studies have shown that if you practice kindness, you're healthier, your immune system is stronger, you're just all around better off. There's another commercial about listening to music, and it's saying that the prescription is just listen to the music you like. And there are studies, again, just referenced very nonchalantly, there's all these studies that have shown that music helps you be healthy. And in the past, they've even talked about meditation, yoga, sun salutations, antioxidants, eat more blueberries, organic produce. And it struck me that Kaiser, who is really not... I've been with them for 30 years, and I've known about them my whole life. They're not exactly cutting-edge medicine, or at least they didn't used to be. And it's filtered its way down now to just mainstream, and that they can put out an ad like this and nobody even blinks an eye. And it's this entire change of consciousness that's happening in our world. And it reminded me of a bit of information I found in researching a teen meditation class I used to teach. And there's this fellow, a Japanese scientist, Dr. Emoto. And he takes water and he freezes it and takes pictures of the crystalline structure. And then he subjects that water to subtle influences, freezes it again, and takes pictures of the crystalline structures and compares the two. And when I say subtle influences, one example is he took water from a dam in Japan, photographed it, and then some Buddhist monks came and did a blessing ceremony over the entire dam. And what you notice when you compare these photos is that the after photo is more symmetrical, it's more well-shaped, it's subjective, but it's more beautiful. And the question is, can just through consciousness, do we change things on a molecular level? And he's done other things where he just writes on a bottle of water, calmness, joy, love. Again, he takes the pictures before and after, and there's a shift on a molecular level of this water. He came to Palo Alto to give a lecture at Gunn High School, Spangenberg Theater. And Tushti and Surendra offered the middle school the opportunity to do a fundraiser. We could sell concessions. So we got a little creative and we went to Costco and we bought these huge cases of water, Crystal Geyser, and the kids wrote on the bottles, peace, love, joy, calmness. Then they decorated them, made them really beautiful. Turned out that the event comes, it's a really hot Palo Alto night, people are waiting in line, and our table is right in front of the door. And people were just dying for water, and they don't sell any concessions in the theater, and we sold out in like 5 minutes. We could have had 20 more cases. But can we always change it through the power of our prayer? The New Age teaching now seems like if you just affirm, if you picture it, if you send light to any problem, it's fixed. So it reminded me then of a story of my mom. And my mom came to the breakfast table one morning many years ago, and all the words on the page were just a jumble. And they were all mixed up. And she just assumed, I guess I need a new prescription. But as it turned out, she had to go to get some tests, and it took a long time, for some reason which I've never been clear on, to get the diagnosis. The diagnosis was a brain tumor, cancer, and in those days, inoperable. So this did not at all fit into my picture of life or how my mom was going to pass. Of course I know she was going to die, but brain tumor, no. That did not compute whatsoever. So I went into what I guess they call classic denial. I just kept expecting a call from the doctor saying, you know what, we mixed up the x-rays, somebody else has it, but you know, your mom will be fine. The call never came. There was a speck on the machine, that call never came. And I started to meditate and I started to pray for my mom. I was very new to the path at that time. And I would just visualize the tumor breaking up and disintegrating. And I just sent a lot of energy and a lot of light to my mom. But the situation kept getting worse and worse and worse. I wasn't making any inroads. And Swami, when he lectures, it seems to me that he speaks in themes. Sometimes they last a year. And at that point in time, coincidentally or not, he was talking a lot about how to pray and how to send energy and how to send light. And he pointed out something that's helped me a lot over the years. And that is, if you send light, you have to realize that the divine light has consciousness itself. It knows where to go. It knows what to do. The current thinking, I think, is if you want a car, you visualize a Camry, you visualize a Hummer, you visualize a Maserati, whatever you want, and you try to get really specific. But Master's teaching is different. It's you visualize, you just send light, and the light knows what's good for you. The light has the wisdom to understand the entire situation. And so I learned a really good lesson through that. My mom eventually succumbed to the cancer, but what she really got towards the end was she had peace. And that's what I was really looking for. It didn't seem right to me that she would die of cancer. I think raising 3 Mcsweeney boys is punishment enough for any soul. I didn't really feel like she had to pay any bigger debt. But I don't know what her karma is. I don't know, And there's so many situations I know for all of us. And it almost seems to me like everybody has at least one bit of karma that seems intractable. It's just we pray, we affirm, we work on it, but years go by and we struggle with finances. Years go by and we have that chronic health problem. Years go by and that one relationship just does not work for us. So the examples I thought of people who bring light to a situation, it's pretty obvious it's Swami Kriyananda. Because Swami, I sat with him recently in a smaller setting, and the man is in a state of bliss. And you see it in his eyes. His eyes are totally calm, and his gaze is totally calm, and his whole being exudes bliss. So one might think, well, he has structured his life in such a way that there's no stress, that there's no challenges in his life, that he has people around him, that shield him from this. But that's laughable. Swami Kriyananda has had so many tests that would just floor me. His body gives him so much challenges. He's had so much betrayal in his life, so many huge challenges. And what I've noticed about him is that even in the midst of challenges, he keeps putting out light, keeps putting out positive energy. There was one really difficult part in his life, and in the midst of it, there was an earthquake in Italy, seemingly totally unrelated to anything going on in his life. Swami organizes this fundraiser to try to get the Italians to consider building with wood frame buildings like we do in California because they do really well in the earthquake. And it was a total non sequitur. He's coming under attack from all these different sources. It's a really trying time. Anybody else would be totally justified for pulling in. He comes right here and he does this fundraiser for Italian building with wood structures. It was just another example. One time during a very difficult time in his life too, I just happened to walk by and he was energizing out on a deck. And he was putting so much energy and so much focus in just energizing. So the thought that I have for all of us is that despite whatever challenge, no matter how dark it gets, no matter how we feel like we can't ever make inroads, and like I said, I think everyone has at least one of these, some of us have more than one, that if you keep persistently putting out the light and never, a friend of mine told me a story recently and the stakes were really high, and she said she didn't even allow herself even the slightest bit of negativity or doubt. She just knew it was going to work out, and it did. And there's something to be said for that, whether Kaiser endorses it or not, but positive thinking and really putting out light, and especially in these coming times, that regardless of what's happening around us, if we stay true to the light, because we have these wonderful Sunday services and we all come together, but when those tests come, that's when you really need to, so to speak, re-up into sadhana, service, satsang. Be with your friends, keep in the light, bring the light into your life, no matter how much the world or delusion tells you otherwise. We always end up victorious in the end.
Welcome. I was in Sebastopol yesterday, Santa Rosa area, and when you enter Sebastopol, you find this little triangular park square, and it's got dozens of these solar panels all on these big posts. And then in the middle of that's Luther Burbank area, Sebastopol, Santa Rosa. So in the middle of this park is this huge tree. I don't know what kind of tree, unfortunately, but this magnificent tree with this great old gnarled trunk, way, way, way high in the midst of all these solar panels. So I want to ask you, what do these two things have in common? Trunk, canopy, maybe light. What about it? They all sort of look up to the light, don't they? That's where they get their power from. Solar panels, they're just looking up, receiving that light. Big, beautiful trees like that, same thing. That's how they operate. So that's how it works for us too. Now we tend to get caught up in material things, maybe answering emails on the computer, maybe looking at that Facebook link when it's way too late and we know we should be asleep, but it's just so intriguing, just one more thing to look at. Gets to be kind of an addiction somehow. I don't know why. But when we know inside that somehow we're drifting away from that calm center, the thing to do is always remember the light, to always be a solar panel and just keep looking up towards the light, because that is what inspires us. I want to do a show and tell here and show an example of what that inner light looks like. I know you thought I was walking to you, Gary, and I might have been, but actually, this is a picture of Yogananda. It was just taken informally when he was sitting between a couple of friends at a dinner, and we blew it up into this, but I love this picture, just because you can see the light in his eyes, just radiating out. He can't even contain it. Swami Kriyananda's like that these days, too, where it's just that sparkle of bliss that's shining through. I'll put this up here so we can kind of have fun. It's useful for us to tune into masters like these that have that light and to think, what is it in their consciousness that gives them that? Around here we're so busy, Silicon Valley, we think, well, okay, I've heard meditation is good, etc., but I just don't have time. But I'll just give you an argument that it's more efficient to do things like meditating because it helps your mind be clearer. That light brings clarity. That light brings joy. And everything that we're seeking outwardly, all those things we're looking at, all those objects that we think will bring us happiness, what we're really seeking is happiness inside. And it's not the objects, it's that inner light. The thing that does it for us is by having the habit of turning towards the light. And the best way we do that is through the habit of meditation. Twice a day, morning, night, is the best thing. And that just kind of helps remind us in the midst of this busy life to turn towards the light so that we can keep that habit throughout the rest of the day. We can, in the midst of the busy board meeting or whatever, we can just kind of in the back of our mind remember, oh yeah, God, that's right, you're guiding my life. And when we do that constantly, then it gets to be this very sweet relationship. God can kind of come to us in a lot of different ways. He can call to us in different ways. And you never know how God is going to call to us. It might be in meditation. It might be in inspiration that we have, a feeling of joy that we have. It might even call us on our cell phones. You never know. But the thing to do is always be receptive to that. And sorry, this is awkward, but Hi, I'm giving a sermon right now. I can't really talk. It's God. Hold on. Hi, where you been? He says everywhere. What you been up to? Everything. Yeah. Well, thanks for calling. I'm a little embarrassed here. I'm trying to think, well, yeah, I know it's your thoughts that are really, okay. Sorry. It's not really me. It's you. Okay, it's good for me to remember that. So what is it that you'd like to say or pass along? Love everybody. That's pretty standard stuff. Oh, this is good too. He says, enjoy everything with my joy. That's good. Thanks. Okay. All right. I'll try to do that. All right. I love you too. Thanks. Okay. Sorry. I think we better let God have the last word on that. So that's all. Thanks.